let's get it out of the way, shall we? Let's get it out of the way. I can't say I'm a very happy bunny about all of this.
Talk us through it, Alex.
Let's kind of go through McLaren's race, and it is mainly going to be about Lando Norris. There's obviously there's not too much to say about Ricciardo, not because he wasn't good, because he put in it was a fairly sturdy performance, I think, from Ricciardo, considering how shaky he has been this season. And yeah, Monza was amazing, but one race does not make a season. You've got to be able to do it all year, and he was pretty solid, I thought. Not exceptional, but put a good shift in, ended up a good result. So. Looking at Norris then, as expected, he lost the lead at the beginning. It seems absolutely daft that a track should be such that qualifying pole is a disadvantage. How's that even possible? I mean, we're saying Sochi is great, but those flaws remain. It is ridiculous to qualify pole and be at a disadvantage. And Norris himself said after Q3, he was like, I can't, this is probably where I would least want to be on pole. So as expected, he lost the lead. He did well to retake P1 from Sainz on lap 13. Sainz, I'll talk about him more later, but he did a pretty good job in that first stint. It was definitely outpacing, probably went a little bit too hard. Norris got the position back eventually. Didn't the broadcast miss that?
Yes, we had to watch a replay.
Completely missed that, didn't it? Lap 15, I've made a note here. McLaren P1 and P2, let's go. That's aged
Amazing.
So poorly.
Oh no, yeah, of course it has.
Anyway... So Ricciardo was the one holding off Hamilton this time, which was interesting.
Yep.
But he had an absolutely rubbish pit stop. And that took him out of the defence, really, and just cleared the way for Hamilton. Not Ricciardo's fault. Just pit stops. The pit stops again. Why? Quite a few people have problems with pit stops and have done recently. Perhaps the change that they've made to something to do with they have to press buttons or something. And there's more interaction, more chance for error or something. So then we ended up with Ricciardo kind of out of it a little bit, and it was all about Norris. He ended up having a really good stop and was making up places to hold on to the net lead. He was doing really well. And then 6 or 7 laps to the end, the rain starts to come down, and I was saying to the screen like lap. Let me find my notes. It's in my notes here. Lap 48, I'm saying box, do it now, get in the pits.
Yeah.
I'm not because I had it all figured out or anything like that. Like ultimately I didn't know exactly what the weather was going to do, but that was what I was thinking at the time. I was thinking I would just definitely box. Because even if Hamilton overtakes you, it's still P2, still a great result. And you got enough of a gap for it to be enough, and you're not gonna do as bad as being on slicks in pouring rain. Right?
Yeah.
So there he was, he was, and they were like, I was thinking, don't stay out. The team were saying themselves earlier to Lando that they thought the rain was going to be heavier than other people did and that it might come earlier. That was something that he said to Norris at the start of the race over the radio. Unless I'm very much mistaken, I'm sure that's what they said. I didn't make a note of it, but I think they did. And then there they are later in the race, and they're saying, oh, actually, no, we're going to take the chance that it's not going to rain. Isn't that contrary to what you've heard, what you were saying earlier? So what were you thinking as I've obviously sort of covered a lot of ground there. What were you thinking as all of this was going on?
Up till lap 47, I thought it was the McLaren.
It was in the bag.
Perfect. Yeah, it was a done deal, and I've never not wanted to see rain in a race so much in my life. It's really strange how the tables have turned this year, how we've all kind of wanted to have a bit of rain in Formula 1 to spice things up, and now whenever it rains, we have this jeopardy that the race might not go ahead, qualifying might not go ahead, practice might not go ahead, we might miss out on these sessions, and now we're all terrified of it because we might miss out on Formula 1, and we don't want to go into a point where we don't have Formula 1 for a couple more weeks than we want to. And then, like you said, that 47 arrived, and it was starting to drizzle on the seafront, wasn't it? The track's very close to the seafront, so it was starting to drizzle. And for quite a short track, it's quite a compact track, it was only raining in one area, which I thought was quite impressive, given that it's not like Spa, which spans over 3 or 4 miles. It's huge. It's Sochi. It's quite a compact venue. In hindsight, you look at the statistics and you think, yes, Lando was winning by a good margin. He had everything under control. If he had boxed, his worst finishing position would have probably been P2. And looking at the results now, that would have been a win. That would have been, the best decision to make.
No, it would have been P2.
It would have been, it would have been a win for McLaren in the sense that, it's another fantastic result over Ferrari, and Lando's second, another second place finish.
But that should have been enough to be happy with. That should have been, yes. That's enough to be happy with.
That is enough to be happy with. But I can kind of understand where it was just a bit. It's so difficult to call, because if it had stopped raining, Lando would have been this hero who managed to stay out in the wet, which we know he can do because we've seen it over the last couple of weeks. Him on dry tyres going through damp patches and absolutely flooring it and being fine. And obviously that crossover point was so quick. It was within like 60 seconds from it's drizzling, it's a little bit slippery, but the rest of the track is dry, to, all right, we need intermediates, potentially full wets down the bottom of the track because it's absolutely soaking. And I just think the team maybe should have been a little bit more forceful. The team maybe should have said to Lando, look, you need to box on lap 48. You need to come in today, now. Or when did he box? Was it lap 49 did he box? Do you know?
It was late. It was late. It was like 51 or something.
Yeah, it's just so many laps have gone by and the times were coming down and no decision was made. Somewhere. As soon as I think Hamilton boxed, and then it was 2 laps later, Lando boxed. Why 51, did he not just... Yeah, it's crazy. Why did he not come in and cover off Hamilton and stay for P2? I can understand in Lando's mindset, he's not a race winner. He deserved to win that race. There's no doubt about it. And he thought, well, it's all or nothing. I can do this. I'm going to become a race winner at Sochi. In my first Grand Prix win, I've got nothing to lose because I'm not fighting for the championship. And is Hamilton going to make a risky pass on me, given that maybe P2 is pretty good for him if Verstappen's down in P7? So I can see why he wanted to stay out and hang it out, but the crossover point was lap 48, 49 at a push, and he didn't come in till 51. That gap there is what ruins McLaren's weekend, and it's actually really disappointing for both the team and Lando, because there was a 2-lap window there where he probably should have come in on lap 49, and they still left it. Like he finished 87 seconds off the leader, and that was a 4-lap race from when he pitted. It's crazy how much time he lost. I don't understand why the team didn't overrule him, or why Norris didn't think, actually it's a bit too wet now, I should come in. Well, he did when it was too late.
Yeah,
the previous lap. Sorry, just one more point. He went off when Hamilton was was right behind him. They were both on slicks. Lando went off a couple of times and only just managed to keep it out of the wall or bring it back on the track in a safe manner. And Hamilton was obviously behind him. It's
amazing there were no huge crashes.
Oh, I mean, amazing. These are the best drivers in the world, and apart from Stroll, they all carried themselves very well today. It's just such a disappointing result from McLaren, given what could have been.